I say, okay, righto. So I'd go along to church, and I'd start to shake hands. And through that whole process of that personal paradigm shift that I was getting, I started to learn to really love people. Not just ministry, not just giftings, not just church attendance, not just doing it, but just loved people. I really did. You know, I walked past Lynn today, Lynn Skelly. Scary. I walked past Lynn Scary this morning, and Skelly this morning. I walked past her this morning, and sorry, Lynn, really honestly. And Lynn said, "How you doing, Pastor Jim?" And I was focused again, being in my little 2-minute world, thinking about what I'm going to say at church, and walked straight past her. And I said, "How rude have you been? That's rude. You need to be friendly." Yeah, and so I always constantly slip back to what I do. So when I'm talking about relationship and friendships, when I'm talking about all of this morning, I want you to understand I'm on a journey with this as well. Every one of us in this house are not perfect in this area, and we are on a journey with it. You know, I look at Pastor Adrian, and I go home and I say to Carol sometimes, "I wish I had something that man's got in me." And Carol said, "You can't be like him. You just got to be like yourself." Yeah, ask your wife. Yes, Sue. But, you know, here's a man that honestly is pastoral. He's connective. You know, there isn't a time where I walk around and Adrian's not in an in-depth conversation, or he's connecting someone, or he's involved with someone's life. He's such a people person. And I remember when we used to go painting together, when we were painting, you know, we'd get some painting done, then we'd get into the kitchen and we start yak, and then we realise, we've been going for 15, 20 minutes yakking, we better get back to the painting again. So what we've got to do is we've got to get a balance between the tasks that we do, the career that we're involved in, and the people that are in our lives that are the important things, aren't they? They're the most important things. You know, Taryn sits here, and she used to work in the same staff I did, and we had offices, and my office used to have a little chair in it, and the senior pastor would come and say, "Why is that chair always sitting there? That chair's sitting there for the people that want to sit in it." I said, "You can't do that." I said, "Yes, I can." And my office was open. I said, "You want to sit in that chair, and I'm going to stop my work, stop everything I'm doing, and I'm going to spend time with you, because you're the most important person here. You're the most important person in this place." And people are so important, aren't they? Relationally. People, it's what it's all about. In the long term, it's not about the task I do. It's not about how well I've built what I've done. But it's the people in my life that are the most important things that I need to concentrate and do well and spend more time with. So here we go. We're going to launch into this. All relationships start with what we call a hesitancy. Now, when we talk about hesitancy, it means that I know Ryan, but I don't know you, Ryan, so it's our first meeting together, and so what I'm trying to do with that relationship is I am trying to get some sort of connection, or some sort of kind of agreement, or get on the same page with that person. And hesitancy means that we have come from what we call broken relationship. Now, you might say, "Well, I've got a good family. I haven't had a broken relationship." Every person on the planet had a broken relationship from God. Through sin, through its means, we had a broken relationship. So as we grew up in imperfect families. Even though you grew up in a great Christian home, my kids grew up in a family that were devout, loved God, really served Jesus, did everything. We would try to be the best that we could be for everything in our kids, our whole lives and all that type of thing. But they never grew up in a perfect family. There are issues, blind spots in all of our lives relationally that we don't understand, that have formulated the particular life that we're now in. And so what we've got to do in relationship is we've got to understand that relationships start with a hesitant kind of, where we at here? Who we with? Or what are we doing? It's a curious search, relationship, a curious search for a person's motive. Is this person going to be critical of me? Is this person going to hate me? All these particular feelings, all these particular motives, all these things in your life, when you're reaching out to people, they're real and they are there. You know, sometimes we have an intellectual response to people. Sometimes we have an emotional stimulation that we need to stimulate through relationship. I believe that having a wife helps me to understand all of those areas. But in intellectual, in emotional stimulations, there's a hesitancy because we have not got a whole life yet. We are in the processes of being made well or being made whole by God. So relationally, we're going to make mistakes with each other. We're sometimes going to let each other down. Sometimes we're going to do actions and things that hurt people. But I'm praying that we don't do those deliberately. If we do them accidentally or we do them without any real meaning, well, then we can fix them, we can move on, we can grow them, we can be in a better place. God made human beings to have relationship with God Himself first, and each other secondly. And so how do we at Ganggalah understand that I formulate a relationship? I have a better, greater, more wonderful relationship with God than I probably do Adrian. But because I have got that, then my relationship then with Adrian, the flesh-to-flesh relationship, can have what they call the dimensions of respect, the dimensions of understanding, and the dimensions of grace in God, so that what I can do is continually build upon our relationship. Understanding He has faults, I have faults. Understanding that He has inconsistencies, I have inconsistencies. But we look over those things because we have love at the number one calling of our lives, because I trust that His relationship with God is just as strong as mine. And so it's important that we the Bible says, spur each other or stir each other on to good works, to do good things together. And it's important that we understand that. So the first thing I want to talk about this morning, and I want to really grab this in our heart. I know this is very pastoral and I'm not real good at this, so I'm trying, okay? I'd rather be prophetic, telling you about your future, prophesying all over you. I'm going to do that next week. That's all right. But we're being pastoral today. As soon as Pastor Will gave me this topic, I said, oh no. Why don't you give me vision for the world, or, the second coming of Christ, or, something that I could really get my prophetic, nature into? No, we're dealing with relationships, Pastor. I said, okay, Pastor, we're doing relationships. Fantastic. And we need to do them good. So how do we do it better? Okay, I think the first thing is we need a friendly nature. First thing is friendly nature. I love Taryn. Taryn's friendly. You could not stand in a room by yourself if Taryn was there and be ignored, or ignore her. You couldn't ignore her. She's immediately going to come up, ask your name, immediately approach you. I love that. I like that. I think we could all learn something from that. And that's what we've got to do. We can't be in a room full of people alone, hidden in a corner, hiding through fear of insecurity because somebody may know something more about my life. So we've got to understand that we come to church not to do an event, we come to church to build a relationship. We come to church together to worship God together, to build the work and the life of God in our lives. Look at this, Proverbs 18:24, it says this, a man who has friends must himself be friendly, but there is one who sticks closer than a brother. Do you have a brother in your life? Do you have a sister? Do you have a strong relationship in your life? When the connection with that relationship is broken, there's a real pain. There's real pain there. Okay? So God was saying, it doesn't matter how strong the relationships are in your life, when there are pains in it, God says He sticks with you through whatever you go through. He's closer than your brother. He's closer than your very friend. He's with you. I'm convinced under friendship, we need to do this. We need to develop a generous spirit. How do we develop a generous spirit? Glad you asked. Okay? Developing a generous spirit is that we need to have pure motives with people. Pure motives. We're not here to manipulate you. We're not here to control you. We're not here to tell you what to